How's everything going today? Sorry for, let me go ahead and switch this really quick. There we go. Yeah, hope everyone's doing good today. Just as always, just a quick thumbs up. That in the chat room that everybody can hear me and they can see me and all that fun jazz. And you guys get to see all my cereal and coffee that I just had. There we go. Now you don't see my mess. Okay. Sound and video working. Sweet. Thank you, Mr. Cole. Hope everyone is doing well today. I thought today, I've been working, past couple days, a little bit I have been working on Total CMS 2 a lot, but I wanted to kind of take a break. I started taking a break like on Friday, and I started working on a stack that I had not released for a long time, and I thought it would be fun just to kind of work on some other stuff, and maybe get a stack out. I thought that would kind of be fun. So the first stack we're going to be looking at today is called Drift, and if we have time, I'll start diving into some of the other goodies that I have unreleased. And I got a lot of them. So I really don't have any agenda. If you have any questions, obviously at the end, tell me what you like, what you don't like. Just be honest. Tell me what you like and what you hate, what you think is stupid. Because I'm sure I have stupid stuff too. Oh, my ID is face up. Good call. Okay. So let's go ahead and share my screen. Okie dokie. Rapid Weaver. Let's open that. I had to reboot my machine. Let's just open up Sandbox. So first before I dive into Drift, I'll kind of show you. If you notice, it's extremely subtle, but you will notice that as I scroll up and down this page, the icons in each of these sections, so the stacks and the Weaver Space icon and the Wrap Weaver icon and the Chili Dog icon and the Cart Loom icon, they all kind of hover a little bit. Like as I scroll, they move, right? And, once I stop scrolling, they eventually stop moving and so on and so forth, right? And so that is what Drift started off as. And you can still do that with Drift, but you can do a whole lot more. It just kind of turned into this huge behemoth. It's not a huge behemoth, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, I just wanted to show you what the origins of Start were. The other new, while I'm here, another stack we'll probably look at today is a stack called Layers, which is what builds these individual layouts here. It allows you to kind of like easily layer stuff on top of each other and kind of do layouts like that. So that's Layers. Actually in the background, that's the filter stack that I released earlier this year. So that was an unreleased stack, but now it's out there in the world. So anyway, this is Drift as well as Layers. We'll look at Layers later on. Okay, so what is Drift? First off, let's look at a simple implementation of Drift. Let's just go ahead and here I have a simple page. It just has some text and obviously an SVG. And let's just animate this SVG, okay, just for fun. Okay. So let's go ahead and look for the Drift stack, which, by the way, love the Drift icon. It's an amazingly beautiful hot air balloon. And anyway, there's also a swatch, which we'll look at in a little bit for those Foundation 6 users out there. So let's add Drift to the page. And we're just going to, you can add whatever you want into Drift. I'm just going to add the SVG stack, okay, from Foundation. And let's look at the Drift settings here. Okay, so essentially, what Drift is it's a generic animator on scroll. So you can animate things on scroll, okay? And you can animate, if we look at the animation settings, you can animate from a position to like the final position. You can animate to a position, or you can animate from and to. So you can define a beginning state and an end state. So yeah, pretty cool. The from basically is you define the starting state, and then it will animate to the same state as if it was on the page. The to state is it'll start from where it is natively on the page and then animate to something. And then from to is where you can define, from this location or from these parameters to a second set of parameters, right? Okay. Let's animate from, because I think that's what a lot of people are going to want to do at first. And obviously we have timing, so you can define how many, the default is half a second for animation. Although because we're animating on scroll, it actually is dependent on the scroll. So the timing is only used in certain situations. But it is good to have that. You can repeat an animation. So basically you can have it like do multiple animations while it's scrolling. I don't suspect that being used too often, but it could be useful. And then Ketchup. Okay, the Ketchup allows you to, I'll go over Ketchup in a little bit. I'm going to circle back on that. Let's just get this thing working, right? So I'm going to mimic what we had on that Weaver Space start page. And here we have the move from settings, right? So we can move from, so 0, 0 is basically don't move anywhere, okay? So this is, I'm going to move it from maybe, let's do like 300 pixels down. Okay, and we'll do 300. Okay, so we're going to move from 300 pixels to the right and 300 pixels to the bottom up to the current location on scroll. Okay, let's just preview that. I'm not gonna really look at all the other stuff right now. Okay, so here we are, and what you'll notice first is inside preview only, Drift has these cool little start and end parameters, right? So we know this is where my animation is going to start, and this is where my animation is going to end. Okay, and if you're curious, those are the scroll trigger settings here. You can turn off those markers in preview if you want, especially if you have multiple drift stacks on the page. You don't want to have them on, on for everything. So yeah, you could turn them on and off. But again, they only show up in preview. They'll never show up on publish at all. And then this is where you defined your starting and ending positions. So there we go. And then as you'll notice, as I scroll down the page, you'll see it also when we have the start and ending point for this animation, right? So as you see, I was animating that SVG. As I scrolled, here's the starting point. As soon as that start hits the scroller start, the animation starts. Okay, and we can keep on going, and then once, I need to either make the page smaller, or let's go ahead and just add some more text to the page. Make the page longer. There we go. All right, make the page longer. Okay, so as I scroll down the page, you'll notice that once the ending, now this one in particular, the animation was already kind of done. It ends when it's off the screen. But at that point, that's when it would end, right? And then what's cool is by default, when you come back, when the end comes backwards, it starts again. So the end becomes the start. And here we go, we're starting. And then once this start crosses the scroller start, that's when it hits its origin point, right? So, and that's the default. Now we have customization over that, but as you see, it's pretty cool. We can animate stuff, and the animation's extremely smooth. This uses a very performant, pretty much the de facto animation library standard for the web called GreenSock. It's a really, really cool implementation, and your animations are going to be silky smooth across all devices. So yeah, really cool stuff here. Okay, so what else can we do? Let's look at Drift. So obviously we can scale, so we can make it grow and shrink and stuff like that. We can skew. Skew is basically like making it skewed. I don't know. I don't think skew is really all that cool, to be honest with you. It was an option, so I added it. But we can do rotate. Rotate's kind of cool, right? So and you can do some like really crazy rotation stuff. So like if we do like 180, 360, I don't know, let's do like 720. Okay, so we're going to rotate a bunch of degrees as it animates, right? And so let's go here. So as you see here, you can scroll, and this thing is just flying and rotating all over the place. And yeah, pretty cool. Now, obviously, for a lot of these animations, you're probably going to want to have the start, pretty low, and then you want to end your animation pretty low as well, right? So let's do maybe something a little bit more realistic. So let's adjust these points. Let's do like the end at 50% the browser window, because by the time the content is at the middle of the browser, we don't want it to animate any longer, right? And let's do the start position at 100%. So like at the very bottom of the browser. Okay. And then if you notice these end and start triggers, the top and bottom, that defines where the start and end points are. So the start is at the top of the element and the end is at the end of the element, right? So the top and bottom of basically the drift stack. Okay, so let's preview that. Oh, hold on. Let's preview in the browser. Okay, so here we go. By the time the end hits this end here, the animation should be done, right? So by the time we get there, it's done. Okay, there we go. Seeing that? Boop. Now we might want to go even further down, right? So let's do like, I don't know, 70%. Because we want users to be able to see that, right? So crazy animation, and then it's there, right? Pretty cool. Maybe even sooner, to be honest with you, right? Pretty cool. I like it. Here, scroll toggle actions. These are the default values, and this is all triggered off of when. So we have 4 different trigger things here, right? We have this the scroller end and the scroller start, the start of the drift animation, and the end of the drift animation. And basically, these settings here control what happens when start and end cross both each other, right? So for example, when the start of drift crosses the scroller start, what do we want to do? We want to start play. We want to play the animation. Okay. And so that's going to play the animation. Next is on leave. So when end leaves the scroller end, what's going to happen? We're going to pause. We don't want to do anything. We want to pause that animation so it just stops. Okay. And then the next one is on enter back. Okay. And on enter back, that's going to resume. And then reset is when start crosses the scroller start again, right? So we have a lot of options here, right? So for each of these, we can do play, pause, resume, reset, restart, complete, reverse, and none, right? So like, for example, let's say I didn't want like the scrub head to kind of, go based on my scroll. Once I started, once I cross a particular point, I want the animation to happen and like not be dependent on my scroll at all, right? So, I mean, I did most of this work this morning, or a lot of the animation and timing stuff I did this morning. So there probably still is some like little quirks and whatnot, but let's see if we can get that working. I had it working earlier. Let's see if I remember. Essentially, we want the start and the end position to be the same, right? So just for fun, let's make that 90% and 90%. And we want, so basically we're making the start and the end position to be exactly the same, right? And yeah, so that's what we want. And then we want, on enter, we want to play. On leave, we want to complete. And then on enter back and leave back, let's just say none. I think that's what we want, right? So, or let's do a slightly, this timing is going to be really fast. Let's do like a 2-second animation. Okay. So what this does is, what I'm suspecting this is going to do is once I scroll this, and once the starting point hits this, okay, there it goes. See that? Boom. Oh, although on reverse, it didn't do what I expected it to do. I guess we could do animate. There's also an option to be animate once. Let's see what that does. Let's refresh the page. And once I scroll. Oh, interesting. I had to animate once working before. Hold on. Maybe I need some browser cache. Interesting. Let's on leave. On. Interesting. Let's turn off that animate once. I'll have to look at that. I want it to start down there. All right. There it goes. It still goes backwards. All right, I'll have to look at that. But it still gives us the ability, as you see, once I cross that trigger point, the animation just happens, right? And that was really fast. I set it to 2 seconds. Not sure why it's so fast. I'm not sure I actually even tested that part, the animation, before. Anyway, that went really fast. I'm thinking this duration, there's a bug in this duration, maybe. I'll have to look at that. But okay, what do you guys think of that? That looks pretty cool. People said they like it and whatnot. Now, some advanced features, if we go further down, the move units, right? So these move units, by default, it's pixels, but you can change it to be all kinds of stuff. So like if you want it to be percentages or percent of the browser window, so you can kind of make your animations responsive, right? So that's kind of cool. Instead of making like a static 300 pixels or something like that, you can say like move 50% or something like that, right? So that's pretty slick. You can you can change your degrees from if you wanted to use gradients instead. I'm not sure how popular gradients are in Europe. It's kind of like the metric system of degrees, right? So, yeah, gradients, there's basically 400 degrees in a circle instead of 360. That way, like a right angle is 100 degrees, right? It's just kind of easier math to do in your head if you wanted. But can you put a drift inside of a drift? Man, you guys are crazy. Put a drift in a drift. I do not know if that's possible. I have never even tried that insanity. But maybe we could test that in a little bit. You can also change opacity. I forgot to say that, right? So you can do opacity. So another thing you can do as well is you can define custom animation attributes. So like while all this move stuff is cool, there's essentially you can animate any CSS property you want, right? So instead of me adding a gazillion settings in here, I added kind of like what I thought people were going to use the most. Well, except for skew, but skew is just easy to add because it kind of just went with everything. You can add, like for example, here I added background color, right? Now this adds background color of black, but let's change this to like fill is red. How about that? Okay. So right now this is an SVG, so we're going to animate as this is animating. It's actually going to animate the fill of this SVG. Oh wait, hold on one second. Let's change that a little bit. Let's do this. Let's get this back up to 50%, just so we can kind of see this animation a little bit better. Let's do on leave, complete, on enter, resume. We'll pause and we'll reset. Okay, let's put that back to where it was. Okay, so as we start our scroller, what you'll notice is the fill was red and it goes from red to black. Like craziness. So as it's animating, it's also changing the color dynamically on the fly while the animation is happening. Kind of slick, right? And we can even do here, let's do something else like in drift here. Let's do like the animation. Let's do like the opacity. It goes from like, it goes from 40% to, full. Let's go ahead and refresh that. So not only is it changing the color and it's animating and rotating, but it also changes its opacity, right? Pretty crazy, insane stuff here. Cool. So that's drift. there's a bunch of little nuances, but that's pretty much it, right? While there's a decent amount of settings in here, I tried to make it really easy to work with, right? Now, here, if you notice, if you change the animate from and to, you have new settings. Hold on one second. So if we go to, we have a different set of settings. And then if you do from and to, you have two different settings here. So you have move from and move to, right? So like, for example, let's say we want to start from 300 pixels, and we want to move to, let's see, if I want to move, let's do like negative 300. Let's test that really quick, actually. I'm interested to see how that goes. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's just kind of rolling around. Here, let's change the Y to, let's keep the Y 0. So it's purely just going to rotate in place, basically. Okay. So there we go. Boop. So as I was scrolling down the page, that was just kind of rolling over, right? It in space, it didn't need to. I kind of like that instead of going crazy high. It just kind of rolls in place. I think that's a lot better. Because also then it fills up that space where that excuse me, that icon was taking up. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm sure you guys are gonna do some amazing, like insane stuff with this. Really, 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 really cool stuff. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss out anything else? Oh, this Ketchup. I forgot to do that. I'm gonna exaggerate this. Let's move it up to like 3 seconds for right now. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is, as I scroll up the page, you'll notice that even though I stop scrolling, it still animates for 3 seconds, because that's what the Ketchup does, right? So even though I stop scrolling, the animation still happens for 3 seconds. So even though, yeah, it animates while I scroll, but then it'll continue the animation for that catch-up amount of seconds after I stop scrolling, right? Pretty cool stuff. Okay. Good thing I forgot. I wanted to talk about that. That was a slick little feature. The repeat is, I'll show you an example of repeat. Let's repeat this 2 times. It's maybe this. Let's see how it does with this animation, right? So the repeat, basically what it does is it kind of yo-yos, right? So what it'll do is I set it to once instead. Okay. What it will do is, in between the start and the end, it's going to squeeze 2 of those animations in between there. And in order to do the repeat, it actually kind of does a yo-yo effect. So it goes forward, reverse, right? So this particular one's kind of crazy, but I'm sure there's some really great use cases for this. Yeah. It's interesting. I originally called this yo-yo instead of repeat, but I don't know, because it kind of just yo-yos back and forth. But you can, again, you don't need to, you can do it for a lot of different things. Maybe the rotation. Here, let's do something a little bit more subtle, right? Let's do, yeah, and a lot, I think those crazy animations like I was just doing really are, I mean, they're okay for some things, but most of the time I prefer like the really subtle animations where, let's say like we're going from 20 pixels to negative 20 pixels vertically. Okay. And that's it. Yeah, let's try that. All right. Oh, I had repeat turned on. That's why. Okay, there we go. And maybe we'll do the cross. Maybe like it'll still move for like 1.5 seconds. See, I don't know if you can see that in the stream, but this kind of gives you that really subtle kind of floating effect as you scroll, just like on my start page, right? So we're just kind of floating this up a little bit, and it continues to float for 1.5 seconds after I stop scrolling, right? And that kind of gets, subtle effects like this make people look at your webpage and they go, oh, wait, did that just move? And then they kind of play with your webpage and go, oh, wow, look at that. That, it's a very subtle thing. It's not like something like pops out and makes someone go, whoa, that was really crazy, right? I think these really subtle animations really make your site pop, right? Let's do a little bit more. Maybe we'll do like 50 pixels. Something not quite so crazy, or a little bit more. So that's a little bit, a little bit more, right? So we're moving a total of 100 pixels up and down. But again, I think it's still pretty subtle, especially if you drop a drop shadow on this bad boy, and the shadow is going to make it look even crisper. Like, wow, that's going to look really slick. And actually, let's go ahead. Let's do the. We're going to animate two. We're going to do fill. Let's try this red. I know I got other stacks I want to look at today, but I'm having fun with drift so far today. There we go. Just kind of as the page goes, it's just kind of going from, dark red to red. Pretty cool. Like it a lot. Now, okay, we're going to move on to the drift swatch. Okay. And this is for all you Foundation 6 users. You'll have access to this drift swatch. And what's cool about the drift swatch? Well, you don't need the drift stack. Don't need it. You just need a drift swatch. And whatever you create here, you can create a single animation. No, this doesn't work on just SVGs, Martin. This works on anything, right? So you can animate an entire layout, right? For example, let's go ahead and let's just chuck this swatch. I haven't integrated this swatch into site styles yet. That's why it's an external stack right now, guys. Okay, I'm going to create two effects right now, and we're going to animate these text stacks in. Okay, kind of like in from the side, right? So let's go ahead and do, we'll call it slide in dash left. Okay, so this is going to be slide in left. And what this is going to do is going to go from, okay, and then we're going to well, I only want to animate once, although animate once wasn't working earlier, which is interesting. Hopefully it'll work now. We'll see. And yeah, we'll do, we'll keep it at 0.5 seconds. Okay, now this, I want to move in from the left, right? So, I'm going to do negative, let's do like 50. Okay, 50 pixels. And then we're going to, and then I'm going to animate it in from 0. So we're going to go from completely opaque from 50 pixels over onto the page. Okay, maybe 100 pixels. So we get a little bit more drastic effect. And starting position is 90. Ending position is, let's do like, discard change. I want to start this at 100, and I want it to be fully animated in by 90%. Okay, from the top, actually. Yeah. Okay, let's look at that. Oh, I didn't put the effect on anything. Okay. Actually, what I'm gonna do now, and I'm gonna copy, and I'm gonna do another one that is slide in right. Okay. And I'm going to, instead of doing negative 100 here, I'm gonna do positive 100, and I'm gonna leave everything else the same. Okay. So now I have slide in left, and I'm just gonna go and select every other one of these. And we're going to do slide in dash left. Okay. And then every other one. We're going to do slide in dash right. Okay. And then, let's see on these ones. 1, 2. There we go. Okay. So now let's preview. Ooh, interesting. Do I need like JavaScript errors on the page? Should have tested this with 1 instead of going like all in. Interesting. Let's see. Slide in right. Did I type it right? Slide in dash left. From negative 100. All right, let's make these a little bit more. Let's do the ending position at like 50% and 90%. Again, this is an unreleased stack, so there's definitely probably some bugs. I'm not gonna, okay. Well, I'm not gonna spend time, but imagine that this swatch worked, and I swore I had it working earlier this morning. I was just playing around with the SVGs, but as you see, I have a slide up here. But anyway, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to just put classes on anything, right? And animate everything that has that class on it. Now, the Swatch actually has a few features that the normal drift stack doesn't. And that's because you can target multiple things. So here you can stagger your animations. So if like you're targeting multiple things, you can actually make it so they don't fire all at the same time. It kind of like staggers them, right? Which is kind of slick. And then also in the, where is it? Here. In the scroll triggers, you can actually provide a custom end trigger selector. So like if you wanted the animation to end when a certain different element passed the page or passed the endpoint, then you can define that, right? So that's pretty cool. The custom end trigger selector. Those two features are only available in the Swatch though. They are not available in the drift stack themselves. So anyway, you can animate all kinds of stuff, right? So you can have all the Swatch stuff here, but I think classes are definitely going to be the easiest way to do that. So, let me see if there's any. Let's see. Can you use a picture? Yes, you can animate a picture in. I'm sure you can. Here, let me do a simple example of a picture. Let's do that instead of me trying to do like 50 text stacks all at once. What do I want? I want this picture. All right, let's do it. We'll do it below this so that it kind of happens on scroll, right? And copy paste that. We'll call this pick. I don't know, pick float, I guess. Okay. So here we're gonna go. We'll do from to. Repeat. We won't stagger it. Oh, you know it wasn't working because I think I had animate once turned on, and I think there was a bug with animate once. Hold on 1 second. Oh, let's try that. Damn. Oh well. Okay. Well, let's try this pick float one though. Okay, so pick float is going to we're gonna anything that has the pick float on it, right? Well, then we'll do move 100. Oh, here we don't want X. We want to move Y. So we'll do like 100 to negative 1. Oops, to negative 100. Okay, and we'll go from opacity 0 to opacity 1. Yeah, let's try that. Oh, I didn't put a picture in there. Ha ha ha. Or assign the, let's just go ahead and add a picture in here. Boop. And we got a picture. And we need to add the stack float. All right. As you see, there's the picture. It did animate. Right? So there we go. There's the picture. Now it actually floated above that because I told it to go 100 pixels above, right? So I'd probably make it just stay at 0. So if we just did, we just change that to be from. So we don't want the to, we just want the from. So basically we just go boop. And as you see, it's subtle, but it's done. It animates up and it fades the image in as you scroll down the page. So yeah, you can do more than SVGs. You can do pretty much anything you want, right? Really slick stuff. Is Drift Swatch already shipping? No, the Drift Swatch isn't shipped yet. It'll ship with the Drift stack. So you get the Drift Swatch when you purchase Drift, and it'll magically show up in Foundation. So before I ship Drift, I'll ship a secret update to Foundation that will have compatibility for the Drift Swatch inside site styles. Okay. Yeah, the end and start is at the top on this. That could be my problem here. So maybe if I put the end at the bottom on these slide in ones, maybe that was my problem. Let's see. No, not sure why those were. I'm not sure what's wrong with those swatches. It did work on this one. So here, let's just preview this a little bit. I'm running into, I got a bunch of other stuff to look at today, but let's see. So we want to from slide in, transitions, repeat 0, catch up, turn that off. Moving 100 pixels from the right. Oh, opacity. oh no, I wanted that. I wanted opacity to be 0. End position. I cannot see why that is doing that. Or just for fun, I'm gonna add pick float to this. This is the paragraph below that image. I must have something stupid going on in that. Oh wait, hold on, let's refresh. I don't know, something about these text stacks. I never tried to animate a text stack before, so that's interesting. It definitely is not animating. Let's see. It has all the stuff. Interesting. I'll look into that. But yeah, as you see, the swatches do work for images. They work for the SVG and stuff like that. So not sure what's going on with the tech stack. I'll look into it before I ship it. Cool. Let's see. Any other questions? Is there any chance you can make a Cartloom storefront editable so we can choose the layout of goods? So I don't do Cartloom. I use Total CMS to manage my store, and you can use Cartloom inside Total CMS. But yeah, that's the only thing I can recommend there, Keith. Or that, or ask Mike over at Cartloom whether or not he can make the storefront a little bit more flexible. I've never used the storefront actually, so I'm not sure what settings are there. I can't really help you out much there. Okay. Drift in a video editor would be ease in, ease out. Yes, so you can, at the very bottom of all this is you can do all kinds of the ease in, ease out animations. So you have, all kinds of crazy animations down here that you can play around with. The default is just a quad or power 1 with out. So that's an ease in, that's an ease out animation. But then you have all kinds of stuff. You can, and if you choose repeat, so like if I repeat this a couple times, you can actually have a custom easing for when it goes backwards, right? So as you see on the yo-yo, right? And then if you do a staggered start, so if you stagger your animations, if you're doing multiple things, you actually can do a custom easing for the stagger as well. So you can do all kinds of custom animations in here. And these other easings only show up when you have the particular settings required for them checked, right? So that's kind of cool. Okay, cool. That was enough with drift. Let's look at what other stuff we got going on here. Okay. Let's look at. I have to admit, I haven't even played with layers in probably months, but let's look at layers. Okay. So let's add it here. Okay. So for layers, essentially, what we can do is with this stack is we can layer stuff on top of each other, right? And kind of build these kind of crazy cool layouts. And it is pretty responsive. It has a lot of features in here for responsiveness. The first is let's look at the background image. So we can supply like a default background image. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. So we have something in there. Let's go ahead and boop. Okay, so there's my background image. You can also just do like a colored block. And you can also drag and drop a stack in there. So you can have a stack floating in the background. Or you can use a total CMS image as well. Okay. So here we're just going to do a background image. You can also blur it as well if you wanted to, right? So we added kind of like that filter-esque feature directly into the background image here. Or you can kind of give it an opacity. Okay. And then here we can do the sizing. So you can float that background image to the left or to the right. And then you can give it a width. Okay. And this really is just a background image, right? And what's kind of cool is when you go responsive, there's a lot of features here for sizing and whatnot of the background, because what you can do is you can say at a particular size, you can make it full width, things of that nature. So like if we look at, let's go to Weaver Space really quick. So this page, if you notice this image here in the background, that's the background image. The one that's in each one is a background, right? And as I go down, you'll notice that background image, it goes full width on mobile, right? You also notice that a couple other cards, like this particular card and this one here, I actually hide them on mobile, right? Because those are kind of just, they're not required, right? They're just kind of like accents. So I decided that it was too much content to try to jam in on mobile. So I hid that particular one, and I just display the icon and this floating text here, right? So anyway, the layer stack, the base layer stack, is mostly all about the background, right? So what can we do with the background? And then there's two other stacks that come with it. One's called layers float. The other one is called layers shift, okay? And float, what this does is this gives you the ability to position things all over the place, right? Actually, let's go ahead and for speed, let's go ahead. I'm going to open up my Weaver Space project, actually. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to open that up. Find it. Oh, there it is. I'm just going to copy one of those implementations of layers and chuck it into this project. Let's go to my start page. Okay. There we go. Now we'll stick with the Rap Reaver one. I will. Let's copy that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to paste it. Okay, there we go. All right. Just going to close that. Oh, this has some Foundation 1 stuff. Oops. All right, give me 1 second here. I'm going to, let's just go ahead. I'm going to swap out a couple of these really quick. I'm going to swap out this It's fine. We'll just live with the redness. Make sure it works. There's some funkiness with using the Foundation 1 stacks in there, but it pretty much works. Okay, so here I have a layers float, right? And I just have an image in there, and this is this particular image here, right? And if you look here, what do we do? I have it vertically centered at 50%, 50%. Okay. And then I constrain the width as well. So I say it's going to be 50% width. So this is going to be 50% down from the top, and then the width is going to be 50%. Okay. And then I'm not sure where do I do the hide? I don't remember where I do the hide. Oh, here, just inside the image stack, I just say hide on mobile, and we're done. Okay, so that's how that magic happens. There's also something called stack order. That's essentially z-index, right? So I have a bunch of layer float stacks in here. The layer shift, what the layer shift will do is instead of like positioning it absolutely, so the layer float stack is kind of similar to Target or the position Swatch, right? Those that are familiar with those products, where it kind of, think of it, whereas it kind of rips it out of the content of the page, and it's kind of floating on top of everything, right? Where layer shift, what that does is it still affects the content, the size of the page. So it affects the size of the overall layer stack. Or what it will do is it'll shift it up, down, left, or right. Think of this as kind of like maybe a negative margin or something like that. So you can kind of shift things over and up and down so that it looks better in your layout. So anyway, yeah, that's the layer stack. Any questions on layers? This one's pretty full featured. I probably should have released this like a year ago, to be honest with you. But yeah, just been working on other stuff, right? It really is cool, especially if you want to do this layered sort of layout that I know a lot of people really love. It makes this sort of layout really cool and nice responsive, right? So there's a lot of specific features to make it responsive for these layered layouts. So cool. What else do I have? Okay, to be honest, those were actually the only two I really wanted to kind of dive into. Here's one called Rain Check that I did. I think I released it to one person. This is going to be the first stack inside of a stack set that I want to do for page performance. And what Rain Check will do is it will lazy load anything you throw into it, right? So like if I just throw these text stacks into it, what it will do is it will, or if we do load on scroll, oh, well, you can't really see on page load because you'll notice it does fade it in because it already sees it, but essentially it'll lazy load content for you. So this is really cool for images or iframes and things like that you want it to lazy load on page load. So yeah, Rain Check is cool. It will be part of an overall performance, page performance stack set. So that's that one. Let's see what else I got. Also, I got, all these Total CMS 2, which was internally secretly named Dynamics for a while. That is now Total CMS 2. Let's see what else do I got here. Oh, hold on. Let me look at my notes here. Oh, here's it. There, is this in here? Let me search for it. This was kind of a theory on something I was playing around with. It never. I thought it would make it its way eventually into Foundation 6, but it wasn't exactly how I wanted it to work. But it's interesting. It's an interesting proof of concept that I've done. And essentially, what do if you notice in the settings? I chose one color, and based on that one color, it was this blue color here. It basically built out this entire color palette for me, right? So yeah, pretty slick, very interesting idea where you can just kind of choose a color. So let's go ahead and choose a different color. I just choose this red, for example. So I choose this red, and then it builds out this color palette all on the fly, right? Pretty cool stuff. I haven't quite, decided how to use this data yet, in terms of, building color palettes. I do think something like this would be really slick for Foundation 6, especially, or Foundation 7 now, maybe. But yeah, this is a color theory, it uses a lot of color math and whatnot to build out this entire color palette. Pretty slick stuff there. Let's see. I have any other questions coming up? No. Okay. Let's see what else I got. Oh, Sweet Button 3. You know what? I'm not going to go through all of Sweet Button 3. I'm not going to release it as it is right now. Foundation 7. Yes. I am thinking about Foundation 7 already. I haven't obviously started any work, but there are some things that I've learned from Foundation 6 that I can't really make better until a major version release. So I do have ideas already for how I can improve Foundation 6 and eventually do a version 7. Foundation 7 will happen. When? I don't know. A year, 2 years from now, something like that, probably. So a long ways away. So don't worry about it. If you just got Foundation 6 and you're like, oh no, Foundation 7? Yeah, I am thinking about Foundation 7, but it's nothing that's happening anytime soon. Okay, Sweet Button 3, I'll be honest, it's probably not going to happen. I know there's a lot of gotchas that I haven't implemented. I didn't implement properly or well, even though the stack has a ton of settings. I don't know, maybe it'll see the light of day eventually, but yeah, that one's going to stay on the cutting room floor for right now. Moving Box 3, that one is actually pretty close. I should probably in the next week or so look at Moving Box 3. Because it solves a couple problems that I know a lot of people wanted. I use Moving Box 3 on this slider here on the homepage. And if you notice, what it gives you is animations per slide, right? So you can animate stuff on a per slide basis, which is really slick. It also fixes the bug where if you have looping slides and you kind of have some complex layouts in one of your slides, it actually handles that properly. That's nice. Yes, first total CMS 2, 100%. Okay, let's see. Those are all Foundation 6. Well, some of it I'll talk about. I did take over Del Fligra stacks earlier this year, and that is definitely a project that we're going to be working on, and getting these kind of remassaged and re-released under our umbrella. Probably get some new icons so they kind of go and match with our site and whatnot. But yeah, the Del Fligra stacks will get updates to everyone, and yeah, they'll get new stuff there. Let's see. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's layers. I already did layers. Okay. Well, I think that's it. I had some other ones, but I don't think I actually have them installed right now. Such as like Liftoff 2 was another one that I started. Video Pro. Is it even in here? Oh, Video Pro is in there. It's just I didn't have the nice pretty icon for it. And I actually have two of them. I forget why I have two of them. What's the difference between these ones? Oh, yes. So yeah, Video Pro, I had two different versions I was kind of playing around with. What Video Pro is, it does, if you go to any of the stacks pages, it's the video player that's right here on the top of the homepage. So it's the one that does this really slick hover animation. Like that is money. Like I love that. Seriously love that. That'll come in Video Pro. I actually have an Audio Pro as well. That will have more features, basically a pro version of like the HTML5 audio stack. Haven't decided whether or not I'll just replace those. I don't know. Not sure what I'll do yet, but those are other things I've been playing around with. I've actually had this Video Pro stack done for a long time. I should release it, although it doesn't work with a lot of services. It only works with YouTube right now, which is because I use YouTube. So I didn't integrate it with Vimeo and other things yet. So that's why I haven't released it yet. But cool. Yes, I do have a lot to do, Gunter. There is a lot of cool stuff coming. Even stuff it's still in my brain that I haven't even gotten down into a stack or notes yet to show you anything. So, but hope you guys had some fun today. I just I thought it was fun to kind of just show you kind of things that I'm working on, get your feedback. We spent a lot of time on Drift. That's just because I've been working on it quite a lot the past few days. Just kind of get that done. Peek behind the curtain of Total CMS 2. I've kind of done that on live streams already. The current version. I guess I can do that. Why not? It'll probably change quite a bit till the release. But if you guys want to stay on, I'll give you a little sneak peek behind Total CMS 2. Let me go ahead. I'll open up my Weaver Space project. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Oh. This is the one I wanted. I guess what I could do is I can show you just kind of like on the back end a little bit. So this is the back end of Total CMS 2. Okay. It's this admin page is quite ugly. Sorry. It's just for me anyway. So I didn't put a lot of love into it. But it works. As you see, I just have a grid of products. This is kind of like the admin blog list, I guess you would kind of call it, right? So I just see all of my products. I can live filter them here. So I can be like, find agent or, find, total, right? Or find CMS, right? And then you can go into any product. And this is the form for the product, right? So this is like the blog, the equivalent of a blog form, right? Where I have all kinds of fields. We even have a custom color picker, so you can store colors, right? We have plain text. We have selects just like we had now or previously. We have a new slider, so you can adjust the slider to a number. Really cool little slider there. I've broken my form up into tabs. You can do this same thing with CMS1. It's just throwing a tab stack in there. So see, we have checkboxes, which we didn't have in CMS1. So we have checkboxes. Oh, ha! I'm not sharing my screen. Ha! Jesus, man, what a rookie. Okay. Joe. Okay, sorry guys. I'll start at the beginning. Here's my admin page. Man. Okay. Caught the reflection in my glasses. Nice. Okay. Sorry. Hopefully you guys can see this now. Here is my admin page. And I can go ahead and start filtering for stuff, as I said before, right? And it's all live filters, just like I did on the main product pages, right? Where you can have live filter in the entire grid. So if you click on any product, you go to the product form page, which is kind of like the product, the blog form, I guess you call it. And here we have live color pickers. Okay, so here's the color picker. You can have predefined colors as well as select a custom color, right? You can change the hue. You can do all kinds of stuff, right? Pretty happy with this color picker. I don't know. I might play with a couple others before I release, but I'm pretty happy with this one. It's pretty nice. You can have, obviously this is a select box just like we had before. And here's that new slider that I was mentioning earlier. And now I've caught up to where I was. We have checkboxes. So nice, really nice checkboxes. I love these checkboxes. These are really good. And then here I have versions. So this is, I split my form up with tabs. You can do that now in Total CMS 1. It's just a tab stack inside the form. You can do that now. We have the same date picker, but it actually is a lot more powerful in Total CMS 2. Put a lot of work into the date picker. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. And this is something new as well. This is something called cards. So inside cards, you'll see that this is all my updates. So this is, I think, the agent stack, right? Yeah, this is agent. So this is a listing of all the updates that I've ever shipped for agent. Okay. And it has the date it was released, the version, and the release notes. And I actually, most of the time, my release process actually adds these via the Total CMS API, because there is an API now. But you can just click plus and you can add a new one, right? So you can manually add them, and then you can drag and drop, reorder them, all you want. So you can reorder your cards and stuff like that. So really slick. And these cards you can customize them to be whatever fields you want. So you can notice I'm just going to jump to the last tab. This is the features tab. So this is all the content that you see listed in the features area of every product, right? And in these cards, I have an SVG, which is a new field in Total CMS 2. So you can have SVG fields. Then you have the title and the summary, right? So this, and then I can, drag and drop and reorder those to change the order of what they are displayed on the product page, right? So yeah, that's cards. Really cool stuff. Images, same thing. Just drag and drop an image, and you have galleries. Images haven't really changed much. Let's see, videos and FAQs. These just this is just linking up to a video field and a video playlist. And then sales. There's the versions. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's basically how Total CMS is. Now what you do is in Total CMS 2 is you can create what's called a business object. Now to create something like this that you're seeing here, it will be done in the pro version of Total CMS. That allows you to create a custom business object. In this case, this is a product or a stack, right? But you can do other things like here's designs, right? So here we can see all the designs that were listed, right? If I click on one of these, we can see, here's the business object for what a design is. We have FAQs, right? Again, I haven't spent too much time making my admin pages pretty because they're just for me. So, I have other stuff to work on, but here's my entire FAQ database all inside Total CMS 2, right? So all the FAQs that you see on Weaverspace, they're all managed by Total CMS. Okay. Here is a list of downloads. So like, if you go to the foundation page or the Total CMS page, and you go to the downloads area, they're all managed by here. Okay. And then they're related because you can kind of do relations, right? They're related through, I can select a product, right? So this particular download is associated with foundation. So when I save the form, I just select foundation 6 because basically you can import objects into a select box so that you can create a relation between them, right? So, and you can multi-select, so I can relate this particular download to multiple products, so then it would show up on multiple download areas on multiple products. So pretty cool. Very, very elaborate. It's very, very full featured. I can't wait. Oh, the new toggles. These new toggles are beautiful. I'm really, really happy with the new toggles. So there's a bunch more to go into with Total CMS 2. I guess one of the other big features that I can talk about is how images are processed. I'm just gonna talk about it. So the way images are processed in Total CMS 1, let's give you an example of where the image processing in Total CMS 1 fails, okay, or where it's faulty. Let's say I created a blog, and when you upload an image, um, you predefine how big you want your thumbnails to be, right? It's really cool. Total CMS 1 auto generates a square thumbnail and a optimized or shrunk down proportional scaled thumbnail. So you get, whenever you upload an image, you actually get three, right? You get your original image, and then you get the thumbnail and a square thumbnail. Really cool stuff. But let's say a year from now, I decided that I wanted my thumbnails bigger, or or I wanted to increase the size of my original images. Well, unfortunately, with Total CMS 1, the way it is, all that's done on the upload, right? So if you want a bigger thumbnail size, you have to re-upload the image, right? And let's say after a year of uploading images, you could have a lot of them, right? So Total CMS 1 kind of, while it's really cool, and what it does is very nice, eventually over time, it could be annoying if you want to adjust your designs. So what Total CMS 2 does is when you upload an image, it saves the original unmodified image. Okay. And it creates 0 thumbnails, 0 square thumbnails. It doesn't do anything, right? It just uploads and stores the image. And then what'll happen is, whenever you want to display an image, what you do is you define, when you want to display an image, the size and crop that you want, right? So let's say, on my homepage, I want to display an image at 1,000 pixels. No problem. Just say you want 1,000 pixels, and it'll request Total CMS generate 1,000 pixel image based on the original image that you uploaded, and you're golden, right? Or let's say you want a 200 pixel square image. Okay. And not only that, but maybe you want a 200 pixel square image that is cropped to the left, right? You can do that too. And it's all done on the fly. And you can actually apply filters to it and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, what's that, the image service not Pictionary. I'm running a blank on the name of that image service that kind of that you just serves up images and does filters and sizes on the fly. Well, essentially that's exactly what Total CMS 2 does now. Okay, and it is performant, right? I mean, once it generates a particular version of an image, it does cache it, so it doesn't have to create that image all the time, because that would just be that would be way too resource intensive, right? So we generate all the thumbnails on the fly, and then we cache them, so that if you ever request that particular image again, we reserve it. And then what's cool is if you ever replace an image or upload a new version of it, all the existing caches, or all the thumbnails that were created, are trashed, because we don't want to serve up old cached versions of an image, right? So then it will reversionize all those images. So really, really cool stuff. Transition from CMS 1 to CMS 2. Great question. Won't be exactly like Foundation 1 to 6. So the stacks themselves will be, it will be the same, right? So this is a complete rewrite of Total CMS 2. And I mean, everything is changing for the better. But with that said, I will build in data migration. So you won't lose any data. You won't have to redo all your data. Total CMS 2 will know how to migrate all your CMS 1 data. Okay, so you won't lose any data. It'll copy it all into a new CMS folder. So it doesn't use CMS data any longer. It uses a folder called TCMS data, just to kind of name it. So it's 100%, independent from Total CMS 1. In theory, you could run both versions. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but in theory, you could.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you please repeat what you said?
Apparently, Siri just thought I was talking to her. So anyway, yes. So hopefully that helps out, Christy. Cool. Well, that kind of does it for today. Give you a little sneak peek of some new stacks coming. Talked about Total CMS 2 a little bit. And yeah, I'm excited about all of it. Let me know what you guys think about Drift. It'll probably be the next stack, released. Probably in the next, I don't know, maybe probably sometime this month. Got a few, kinks to iron out. But yeah, it's pretty slick. I'm really excited for it. ETA on what, Gaston? I'm not sure what you're talking about. ETA, I talked about a lot of stuff today. The next thing up is going to be Drift. I will get that released since it's so close, and probably Layers soon after that because that's pretty close as well. The rest of them is all kind of in limbo. Not sure when I'll get those done, but I am working 100% on. I was hoping to have a beta of Total CMS 2 out this month actually. Before, and yeah, this quarantine just has been. I've been really busy, like crazy busy. Foundation 6 has obviously taken off, and I've been adding a lot of features and doing a lot of support on that. So that's eaten up a lot of my time, and yeah, so I don't know. I hope to get a beta out this summer of Total CMS 2. I'm working on it as hard as I can, and we'll get it out to you in your hands as soon as possible. That's basically the best that I can say right now. So anyway, take care, guys. I hope to see you, a lot of you, on Friday. Friday we're going to be doing hangouts. We do a Zoom hangout every Friday. If you haven't joined us over there, and hopefully we'll see you, many of you there. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go out in there and make something great.